Hello everyone, I am currently in Auckland, New Zealand's largest city, and this is my guide on how to spend 24 hours here. If you're new here, I'm doing a road trip from Queenstown, which is right in the bottom of the South Island, all the way up to Auckland, here at the top end of the North Island. I've had the most amazing 6 weeks here, traveling through this country. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend you go and check out my playlist of all the videos I've made here so far. It's the most amazing country in the world, and hopefully those videos convince you to come here one day if you haven't already. As I've said, Auckland is New Zealand's largest city. It has a population of just over 1 million, which means that it has 20% of New Zealand's total population, which is crazy for just one city. But despite it being the largest city, if you speak to most locals here in New Zealand, which I've done so throughout my time here, most of them kind of trash talk Auckland. They say it's a bit of a rubbish city, there's not really a lot to do. Most people who live here are here for work, and they all told me to spend as little time as possible here in Auckland and to just treat it as an airport city. But despite that, in this guide, I'm going to try and give you the best bits to do here in Auckland. The best place to start your day, in my opinion, is right by the waterfront. I'm here in Queen's Wharf, and yeah, it's a very pretty, scenic waterfront. I mean, how many cities in the world have a waterfront like this? As you can see, there's a few benches and stuff that you can sit on. There's even a few people fishing, if that's to your taste. Though, one thing I've got to say, here in the Southern Hemisphere, especially in New Zealand, the sun is very, very powerful, so make sure you got protection on. Now, with Auckland being New Zealand's largest city, it does have a pretty decent public transport network. There's loads of buses, there's even ferries you can get which go to some of the islands that surround Auckland, or you can just walk about, though I would say it's quite a hilly city, so if you are going to walk about, you're in for a bit of a workout. Alternatively, you could just rent a bike or an e-scooter. There's loads of cycle lanes throughout the city, and that's primarily what I'm doing. So you've started your day here in Auckland with some blueness at the waterfront. Now I think you should go to somewhere a bit more green, and that place is about a 10-minute walk away. So we've made it to Albert Park, which is this very cute little park right in the centre of the city. I say cute. As you can probably tell, it's very steep, so let's head into the centre and then I'll explain a bit more about why this park is so steep. So I'm currently in the centre of Albert Park, which you'll hopefully agree is very pretty. The reason why it's so steep is that Auckland actually lies on a volcanic field. Well, don't be alarmed, it's a dormant volcanic field. It hasn't erupted in over hundreds of thousands of years. But there's 53 volcanoes here in the whole volcanic field, which is the reason why Auckland is quite like a steep city and there's hills all over the place. And Albert Park was one of those volcanoes. For most of these volcanoes in the Auckland volcanic field, it's not obvious that it was a volcano, but here in Albert Park, you get one of the best examples, and there's one more as well, which we'll visit later in this video, where it's even more obvious that it was a volcano. Once you've spent a decent amount of time here in Albert Park, you should probably visit Auckland's most iconic landmark next, which, if you know anything about the city, you probably already know what it is. That there in front of me is Sky Tower, which is by far Auckland's most iconic landmark, and probably New Zealand's iconic landmarks as well. You can see it pretty much anywhere you are in the city. It absolutely dominates the skyline. So at the top, there is an observation deck that you can visit. I think it's about 47 New Zealand dollars, which is about £25. Also, you can abseil from the top of it. You can visit a restaurant. So there's a few activities to do up there. I'm not going to go up it just because I feel like it's not worth the money and it's a bit overrated. I guess it's a bit like London Eye. Yes, it's very iconic, but trust me, if you've been on it, you'll realise it's severely overrated and it's not worth it. But I am going to include the Sky Tower for the purposes of this video, just because it's the most famous thing here in Auckland. Now, I'm feeling a bit peckish. Whilst Auckland doesn't have a lot to do, one thing it does have a lot of is cafes. So let's find one and grab some lunch. So me and my sister ended up going to a sandwich shop called Gloria's, where I got myself a salt beef sandwich, which cost me 18 New Zealand dollars. The sandwich was okay, maybe a bit too messy for my liking, but you know what? It did the job. I've had my lunch, now it's time to visit the other volcano I was talking about, but for this, you might want to jump on the bus or catch an Uber. So I've made it to Mount Eden, which is about 5 kilometers away from the centre of Auckland, and this is by far the most famous and popular volcano in the whole Auckland volcanic field. In fact, it's also the tallest, standing at heights of 196 metres, and it's also the highest point here in Auckland. One thing to note if you are coming to Mount Eden is that you can only get Ubers or buses so far, and you have to walk up the rest of the way. It's a very short walk, only about 15-20 minutes, but it is very steep. So don't tell me I didn't warn you. One of the reasons why Mount Eden is so popular is that you can get up close to the crater. Normally with volcanoes, the craters are usually too high up for you to reach, or they're quite dangerous because it's an active volcano. But here in Mount Eden, it's very accessible. In fact, there's a nice path that goes all the way around the crater. So yeah, it's certainly worth checking out, and definitely something you should include on your visit to Auckland. Now, as you can imagine, with Mount Eden being the highest point here in Auckland, there's a pretty decent viewpoint, so let's go and check it out. And this is the view. It's not bad, right? You can see Sky Tower over there, and then if I pan a bit more out this way, you can see the sea and the harbour. If the crater wasn't a good enough view to come up to Mount Eden, then hopefully this viewpoint is. I hope you guys can agree that this view is pretty spectacular. It's definitely worth coming up here to Mount Eden. I feel like it's much better to come up here than actually go up Sky Tower, and this is why you have to include this as part of any visit to Auckland. Apparently there's a cafe somewhere around here, but I can't find it. So yeah, we're gonna head back down into the city centre and I'll show you a few more things that you can do. I'm back in the city centre and I'm here in Aotea Square, which is like this public square here in the heart of Auckland. Often if there's any events going on, this is where it happens. There's also a massive cinema right opposite as well. Right next to the square is Auckland Town Hall, which is about 100 years old. It's a good place to visit if you want to catch a show of some kind. The orchestra performs here on a regular basis. So you've had a full day of exploring here in Auckland and you're probably feeling quite tired and hungry. And that's why, for dinner, you should come to Elliot Stables, which is like a food court right here in the heart of Auckland. It's about a 5-minute walk away from Aotea Square. So I'm going to head inside and grab something for dinner. And I guess that brings an end to this guide on how to spend 24 hours here in Auckland. Hopefully you found it useful. I'll be honest, Auckland isn't the most amazing city. There isn't a lot of things to do here. But if you do fly into New Zealand, you probably will fly into Auckland. So it's worth spending a day here before you go out and explore the rest of the whole country, which is where the real beauty lies. That also sadly brings an end to my time here in New Zealand. I've had the most amazing time traveling throughout the whole country. And if you haven't already, make sure you check out my playlist of all the videos I've made here. It hopefully will inspire you to come here one day if you haven't already. All right, it's time for me to sign out. I hope you guys are doing well. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.